It did certainly look much more like a show of appreciation for Vladimir Putin. More than 30 other countries also allow some forms of mail-in voting. They decided to skip the one-on-one meeting and the lunch.
We have a Face the Nation interview to jump into, really breaking down Trump's failures in these Russia-Ukraine conflicts and the talk he recently had with Putin at Alaska and in his tirades against mail-in ballot votings, further trying to attack democracy. So leave us a like on the video if you can, it helps us out a ton, and let's get right to the content.
And Putin wants to sow chaos in the American electoral system ahead of the midterms. So of course he's laid into this whole issue of mail-in voting. And President Trump asserted in his Fox News interview that there are no countries in the world that allow mail-in voting. Well, Russia allows mail-in voting. And if everybody wants to go out and look, they can look for themselves. In 2020, President Vladimir Putin signed into law Russians being able to vote by mail and also on the internet. And more than 30 other countries also allow some forms of mail-in voting. So it's just not true that other countries, including Russia, don't use this. It's a pure, blatant piece of manipulation.
Which also probably has a lot to do with why Russia interfered in the 2016 election to try and help Trump win. They knew Trump would be easy to manipulate and deceive and would be a pushover on the global stage, which has all shown to be entirely true. He's allowed conflicts in the Donetsk and Donbass all through his first term before then trying to blackmail the victim Ukraine for dirt on Joe Biden. And he's now begging Putin essentially as Putin launches the largest attacks into Ukraine that we've ever seen. And it's exactly why Putin would want midterm chaos. A Republican majority might as well be a Russian majority. If we have a Democratic chamber of Congress, however, we not only have accountability to pull in the reins on Trump, but we have support for our allies.
I wonder what you think about how this Alaska summit compared.
Well, obviously quite different in many respects. Part of it was the fact that they decided to skip the one-on-one meeting and the lunch. I mean, these are usually part of the sort of set of summits like this. And the press conference obviously was more of an announcement or a set of announcements, presentations by both leaders, much more by President Putin and more of a commentary by President Trump. So there wasn't that free-for-all of press questions, which I'm sure was a bit disconcerting for you and others who were present there at Alaska. But the optics weren't exactly great, as Congressman Crow has laid out for the United States and for President Trump again. I mean, again, different. But although it was presented as perhaps a show of power by being at a US Air Force base with the flight passing of the B-52s and
I mean, the takeaway everyone has from the summit, everyone serious at least, is that Trump got absolutely rolled and he backed out once again from what he said he would do. He promised he would gain concessions or it would be bad. He would walk out, all of these things, and he didn't get concessions, yet none of that happened, and he was just friendly and playing coy with Putin. Meanwhile, Putin got to do a photo op on US soil as if he's not a blatant war criminal, slaughterous, genocidal maniac, followed by Trump and his MAGA reporters again framing Zelensky as the perpetrator of this conflict despite being invaded over a decade ago and then invaded again. He came to the White House to answer questions. He's the only party in this conflict trying to work towards peace, yet it's his fault and he's the guy who started it all. It's actually strange at this point how far Trump is willing to go in his blind support for genocidal leaders from Netanyahu to now Putin. I wonder who's going to be next in this group of friends.
It did certainly look much more like a show of appreciation for Vladimir Putin. And so the optics were really much more favorable to Putin than they were to the United States. It really looked like Putin had set the agenda there, the narrative, and in many respects the tone for the whole summit meeting.
I just wonder what it says about our position in this conflict, both domestically and abroad, when Trump is bullying our ally and playing coy footsie with our enemy, acting weak and disheveled in his presence, unable to stand on any of the things he promised to do, unable to get any concessions like Joe Biden would have never. Again, this just makes America look weak on the global scale. This is why conflicts escalate under Trump, because these countries know they can get away with it. It's that simple, right? They can probably manipulate Trump if they really need, or pay him off, or, let him make some tariff deal that he can show off to Americans, so why not, right? And we're seeing this play out right now in real time as MAGA fell for it again, but this one will cost how many Ukrainian lives? Like, I wonder how many dead Ukrainian children are worth it for their rich guy tax cuts.